If you're confused about who owns Chevy, you're not alone. Is Chevy General Motors? Not exactly, but Chevy is a General Motors brand. But it all started with Louis Chevrolet. In the early 1990s, the roads were dominated by Ford's Model T. But things were about to change as a Swiss-born race car driver named Louis Chevrolet teamed up with an ambitious businessman, William Durand, to create something entirely different. On November 3rd, 1911, in Detroit, Michigan, these two visionaries founded the Chevrolet Motor Car Company. So, who is Louis Chevrolet? Born on December 25, 1878, in Switzerland, Louis grew up in a family of 7 children. Louis had an early life steeped in simplicity, working alongside his father, Joseph Chevrolet, who provided for the family by crafting fine watches. But life wasn't always smooth for the Chevrolet family. By the time Louis turned 9, an economic downturn struck, forcing the family to leave their Swiss homeland. They relocated to a quaint town in France, where Joseph opened a new watch store. However, the income from this venture wasn't enough to sustain a family of 9. Hunger became a familiar companion, and the young Louis, unwilling to watch his family suffer, left school at just 11 years old to seek work. As a teenager in France, he started working as a bicycle mechanic and even competed in cycling races. But one question kept buzzing in his mind: what makes machines run? Could they go faster? His first job was at the Robin Bicycle Workshop, where he learned to repair bicycles and carriages. Quick to grasp the intricacies of machinery, Louis became a skilled repairman in no time. By 16, he was designing his bicycles. One of his creations, the Frontenac, earned him local fame as he raced and often won competitions. These victories not only fed his family, but ignited in Louis a deep love for speed and mechanics. One fateful spring day in 1897, while working at the bicycle shop, Louis was called to repair a steam-driven tricycle at a nearby hotel. This tricycle, an early automobile, belonged to none other than William K. Vanderbilt, the wealthy grandson of industrial tycoon Cornelius Vanderbilt. Young Louis was mesmerized by the machine, marking the start of his lifelong fascination with automobiles. Impressed by Louis's talent, Vanderbilt encouraged him to dream big, perhaps even to cross the Atlantic to America, the land of opportunity. By 1899, Louis had crafted another stunning bicycle design, the Gladiator, which caught the eye of a manager at the Dirac automobile plant in Paris. This opportunity allowed Louis to dive deeper into engineering, particularly internal combustion and 4-stroke engines. Rumor has it, he also worked for the famed Didion Bouton Company, further sharpening his skills. Armed with knowledge and ambition, Louis set sail for North America in 1900. He arrived in Montreal, Canada, and soon made his way to New York City in 1901. Life in America, however, was far from easy. Louis worked tirelessly in various workshops, and even took up driving jobs to make ends meet. His father's passing around this time added to the burden, but ever resilient, Louis encouraged his family to join him in the U.S. Things took a turn in 1905 when Louis landed a job with Fiat's American branch. Not only was he working on innovative engines, but he also became a race car driver, a dream job for someone with a passion for speed. In one of his early races, Louis shattered the 1-mile world record, a feat that thrust him into the limelight. Soon after, he began winning high-profile races, earning him the nickname the Daredevil Frenchman. Imagine setting a mile record in just 52.8 seconds. At a time when automobiles were still a marvel of engineering, Louis's reputation as a skilled racer and mechanic caught the attention of John Walter Christie, an innovative engineer. At Christie's factory in Philadelphia, Louis worked on cutting-edge concepts, including an early version of front-wheel drive cars. Although the technology was ahead of its time and didn't find immediate success, it added another layer to Louis's automotive expertise. By 1909, Louis was among America's top race car drivers, finishing second in the national championship. But his racing career was fraught with danger. Frequent crashes left him hospitalized, and some of his colleagues weren't as fortunate. Despite the risks, Louis's love for speed and innovation never wavered. This success caught the eye of William Durand, the co-founder of General Motors. Durand brought Louis on board at Buick, where Louis helped design and race the legendary Buick Bug. But racing wasn't just about fame for Louis, it was about innovation. Every race was a lesson in improving performance, speed, and durability, lessons that would later fuel the creation of one of America's most iconic car brands. Along with his brother Arthur, he joined forces with Durant to found the Chevrolet Motor Company in 1911. From the very start, the company's mission was clear: to design cars that combine durability with style, vehicles that could hold their own on the racetrack but were equally suited for everyday life. Their designs were so good that they won back-to-back victories at the Indianapolis 500 in 1920 and 1921, first with a Monroe Special driven by Gaston, and then with a Frontenac Special driven by Tommy Milton. Lewis poured his soul into the design of their first car. With the help of his friend Tien Planche, he spent 6 months crafting a masterpiece, the Chevrolet Classic 6. This elegant six-cylinder vehicle boasted a 4.8-liter engine, a top speed of 65 miles per hour, and a hefty price tag of $2,250, about $65,000 today. The Classic 6 was introduced in 1913 as a luxury car, showcasing Lewis's talent not just as a racer, but as a designer. However, despite its beauty and power, it struggled in sales, with only about 500 units produced in its first year. Durant was unimpressed. Durant had a different vision. He admired Henry Ford's Model T and wanted to compete in the low-cost, high-volume market. The two founders clashed repeatedly over the company's direction. Lewis, ever the purist, wanted to build race cars, while Durant insisted on making affordable cars for the masses. The tension between them grew unbearable. Durant's unilateral decision to shift the company's focus without consulting Lewis was the final straw. Their arguments turned personal, with Durant reportedly mocking Lewis for his humble habits, including his preference for cheap cigars. Insulted, Lewis declared, "I sold you my automobile. I sold you my name. But I shall not sell my personality to you." A heartbreaking exit. By 1915, Lewis had had enough. He sold his stake in Chevrolet, walking away from the company that bore his name. The move cost him dearly. Durant, now the sole owner, turned Chevrolet into a massive success, eventually using it to regain control of General Motors. Lewis, meanwhile, missed out on becoming one of the wealthiest men in America. Freed from corporate battles, Lewis returned to his first love, racing. He founded the Frontenac Motor Company, building high-performance cars that dominated the racetrack. In 1920, his younger brother, Gaston, won the prestigious Indianapolis 500 in a Frontenac car. But the triumph was short-lived. Later that year, Gaston tragically died in a racing accident, shattering Lewis. Devastated, Louis vowed never to race again. His fortunes began to crumble. A Wall Street scandal involving his investors forced him to abandon plans for a new passenger car. His company went bankrupt, and the Great Depression dealt a fatal blow to his subsequent ventures. By the 1930s, Chevrolet Motors was thriving, outselling Ford and cementing its place as an American icon. But the story of Chevrolet wouldn't be complete without mentioning William Durant, the co-founder, who also saw his fortunes crumble. Durant's aggressive acquisition strategies left him saddled with enormous debts, forcing him out of Chevrolet by 1920. It's ironic that both Durant and Louis Chevrolet, the men who started it all, ended up distanced from the company that bore their names. In a cruel twist of fate, he returned to Chevrolet Motors, not as a celebrated founder, but as a mechanic on the assembly line. Health problems soon forced him to retire, and he spent his final years in obscurity. In 1941, Louis Chevrolet died of a heart attack at the age of 63, leaving behind a legacy of innovation, passion, and resilience. His story is a poignant reminder that even the brightest stars can fade, but their light endures in the lives they touch and the dreams they inspire. Tragically, his brother Arthur succumbed to deep depression in the years following Louis's death, eventually taking his own life. The Chevrolet legacy, however, was far from over. Its founder was laid to rest at Holy Cross Cemetery in Indianapolis, near the racing circuit where his legend began. Chevrolet Motors soared to unprecedented heights in the post-war years. The 1950s and 1960s were a golden age for the company, solidifying its place in the annals of automotive history. One of its most iconic contributions to car culture came in 1953 with the introduction of the Corvette. This two-seater sports car broke the mold by using fiberglass instead of steel for its body, allowing designers to craft its now famous curvaceous lines. It was not only a pioneer in American sports cars, but also a cultural sensation that captured the imagination of an entire nation. Chevrolet didn't stop there. In 1958, the Impala made its debut, a sleek, stylish vehicle that embodied the spirit of the American road. Its long, luxurious design and cutting-edge features made it an instant classic. By 1965 and 1966, the Impala achieved what no other car had done before or since. It sold over 1 million units in a single year. What do you think about Louis Chevrolet's story? Is it as impactful and inspiring to you as it is to us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Stay tuned for more incredible stories.